The ship floated in darkness. No stars, no planets. Only silence. Captain Alira stood on the bridge, staring at the black void outside the window. Her crew waited quietly behind her. Something was wrong. They all felt it. This part of space was empty, too empty. They had followed a strange signal. It had no known pattern. It came in pulses like a heartbeat. It repeated every 13 minutes, always the same. At first, they thought it was just noise from a dying star. But the signal was too regular, too clean. Now they were here, Sector 09, far from any colony or patrol zone. This space was marked restricted on most star maps, but no one knew why. The data was deleted from every public file centuries ago, and yet the signal had started again. Something was calling, or warning. Alira spoke. Scan again. Wideband. Everything. The ship's scanner officer, Relo, tapped his console. Lights blinked. A low hum filled the room. Scanning, Relo said. His voice was tight. He didn't like this place either. The results came back. No ships, no stars. No radio chatter. Nothing except the signal. Same pattern, Rilo said. 30-minute loop. It's not random. It's not natural either, said Mira, the science officer. This was made by something or someone. Play it again, Alira ordered. The sound came through the speakers. Thump, 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 pause, thump, thump. Ow. That same strange rhythm. It felt wrong. Like a forgotten language trying to speak. Suddenly the lights on. The ship flickered. Everyone looked around. Nothing was damaged, no impact, no power surge. Then the signal changed. A voice spoke, static first. Then words, low, broken, not human. Turn back. Not for you. The voice cut off. The bridge went quiet. What was that? Rila whispered. Play it again, Alira said, but her voice was softer now. They played it, again and again. Same voice, same broken warning. Turn back. Not for you. Where's it coming from? She asked. Unknown origin, Mira replied. It's not from a planet, it's coming from empty space. That's impossible, Rilo. Said Mira didn't answer. She looked scared. Alira turned to her crew. What do we think? Rilo shook his head. It's a trap. This place is dead. That message, it's not a welcome. It's old, Mira added. Really old. The signal has been bouncing around in this void for centuries. Then why did it start again now? Alira asked. No one answered. Then, something new happened. The stars blinked on. One by one, not natural stars, but strange, red points of light. They weren't there before. They hovered in the distance, glowing dimly. Like watching eyes. Those aren't stars, Mira said. The ship's system flashed a warning. Gravitational shift detected. Rilo gasped. Something massive is moving out there. Lyra looked out the window. Shapes, big ones, moving slow in the dark. Not ships, not meteors, something ancient. Back us out, she ordered. Now.
Ow.
The engines roared. The ship turned.
Oh, but...
Signal followed them. The voice came again louder. Last chance. Leave. Suddenly, the void was filled with red light. A wall of energy burst open behind them like a rip in space. From inside, something began to crawl out. It was massive, mechanical but alive. Too many limbs, too many eyes. A thing from before stars were born. Everyone froze. Mira whispered. This is why they marked the sector restricted. They weren't hiding it from enemies, they were hiding it from us. Alira gave the final order. Jump. Anywhere now. Rilo didn't argue. He activated the emergency drive. The ship vanished into hyperspace. Just as the thing in the void reached for them, the last image the crew saw before the jump was the creature's eyes. Countless, watching, waiting, the warning. Wasn't a trap, it was a message. And they almost didn't listen. But others might not be so lucky. A long time ago, the elders stood before the great galactic council and gave a warning. Their voices shook. Their eyes were full of fear. They said, never go near the humans. Never cross into their space. They are not like us. They are not like anything. but no one listened. The council laughed at the old ones, said the elders were afraid of shadows and old stories. The warning was forgotten now, after many years. Young Commander Threx stood alone in the deep vaults under the Capitol. He had found something strange, something locked behind layers of old codes and heavy doors. The place smelled like dust and silence. No one had been here for centuries. He placed his hand on the scanner. The machine did not respond at first. Then, with a heavy sound, the door opened. Inside was a small chamber. In the middle was a glowing cube, floating above a stone pedestal. Threx walked closer. The cube pulsed with red light. It spoke in an old, broken voice, accessing the Forbidden Archive. The voice continued, cold and calm. Last update, 932 galactic cycles ago. Warning, highly classified. Threx narrowed his eyes. Why was this hidden? Whispered. The cube began to show images, planets burning, fleets destroyed in seconds, and then a name appeared on the screen. Just one word. Earth. Threx stepped back. He had heard the word once, a long time ago, in a joke told by an old technician. No one had taken it seriously. He watched more. A full galactic fleet was shown moving toward Earth's system. Hundreds of ships, weapons ready, confident, brave. But as they entered human space, everything went wrong. No battles were shown, no return fire, just one image. Darkness. Then static. Then the word lost. Ship by ship, the fleet disappeared. No distress calls, no escape pods, no survivors. Threx felt cold in his bones. This was not war. This was something else. He reached out and tapped the cube. Show me the last message. The cube buzzed. Then a voice played. Not alien, not robotic. It was a human voice, calm, deep. We gave you space. We gave you peace. But you kept coming. You kept watching. Now, we will respond. Do not send more. The message ended with silence. Not even a signal beep followed. Threx shut the cube down. His mind raced. He knew what he had to do, but he also knew what would happen if he told the council. They would ignore him. They would say he was paranoid, like the elders. But Threx had seen it. Had seen the truth with his own eyes. He left the archive in a hurry, locking the chamber behind him. As he walked up the cold metal stairs, 1,000 thoughts filled his mind. Should he warn the council, or should he prepare in secret? As he reached the top level, a voice called out, Commander Threx, said High Advisor Zern. Why were you in the restricted section? Threx looked at him. He paused, then said, I found something. About the humans. Zern laughed. The old ghost stories? Don't tell me you believe them. Threx didn't smile. I think we should stop watching Earth. We should delete our probes. We should stay away. Zern raised an eyebrow. That's not our way. We study. We observe. And if they are weak, we conquer. Threx said nothing. He just nodded and walked away. Later that night, he sat in his private chamber, staring out at the stars. Somewhere out there was Earth. Quiet, silent but not weak. He opened a secret channel and began recording. This is Commander Threx. If you are hearing this, then something has happened. I've found a truth we were never meant to see. We were warned. And we laughed. But the humans are not sleeping. They are watching. And they remember. He paused, then whispered the last words. If we go to them, we will not return. And far, far away beyond the edge of known space, something ancient stirred. A small satellite turned its eye to the stars. A human beacon blinked once, then began to glow red. They had seen the vault open. They had heard the archive accessed, and they were ready. The fleet was ready. 30 warships, shining in the light of distant stars. Each one was a masterpiece of technology. Plasma cannons, energy shields, hyperdrives, the best the galaxy had to offer. The council was proud. They called this fleet Stormhand. It was created to scare, to crush, to conquer. But it was flying toward. Earth Commander Threx watched from the control tower on. Zareth IV's face was hard, his fists tight. It begged the Council not to send the ships. They didn't listen. They laughed at the human warnings, called them weak, ancient. Humans are just myths with teeth, one counselor said, and we bite harder. Stormhand moved through space, fast and silent, leaving behind streaks of white in the dark. Then the fleet crossed the invisible line, the same border warned by the Forbidden Archive, by the Elders, and by the Survivor. And everything changed. The first sign was small. One scout ship flying ahead blinked off the screen. No alarm. No explosion. Just gone. Minor tech issue, the fleet commander said, brushing it off. But then two more vanished. Still no warning. Still no sound. Fleet Titan formation, the admiral ordered. Engines at full. The ships moved closer together. Nervous? Watching then? Something appeared. A flash, not from a ship, but from space itself. A black shape darker than the void slid into sight, long and smooth, without lights or noise. It did not fire. It didn't have to. One of the front line. Destroyers split in half, no impact. No beam. Just crack and silence. Another ship melted from the inside out. Its core turned red, then white, and then disappeared. Panic spread, the admiral shouted. Shields up, weapons hot. Turn fire. The ships shot everything plasma. Bursts, torpedoes, heat rays. But nothing hit. The black shape vanished again. Then 5 more ships exploded at once. No warning. No enemy in sight. It was like the fleet was being taken apart, piece by piece, by something invisible. Threx watched the footage in horror. It was being broadcast live, but the signals started to break. Screens flickered. Sound cracked. 1. Pilot's last message reached Zareth IV before silence. A whisper, "They're not ships. ... They're shadows." Then the fleet was gone. All 30 warships, the Stormhand erased in minutes. Back at the Galactic Council chamber, chaos exploded. Leaders screamed. Some shouted for war. Others shouted for peace. But one elder, the last one still alive, stood in the center. He raised his hand. "Now do you believe me?" he asked, voice shaking. "Now do you see?" They ignored him again. Instead, the council tried to hide the truth. They said it was a black hole, a natural accident. They told the people nothing, but the people already knew, because on every screen across 5 systems, a human message played, simple, clear, and cold. First retaliation complete. Next strike pending. Withdraw from the edge. Final warning. Begins now. Galaxy froze. Threx was called back into the war room. Advisors shouted over each other. They must have cloaked fleets. No. It's new tech. Impossible tech. We have nothing that can do that. Then Threx slammed his hand on the table. "You still don't understand," he growled. "They are not like us. They are not at war. They are correcting a mistake. We're not facing soldiers. We're facing consequences." Silence fell in the room. Then one screen blinked. A single human probe had entered Zareth IV's orbit. No weapons, no shields. Just a small metal ball, the size of a chair. It spun slowly. Then it played a message. "Leave, or the stars will fall." Council demanded it be shot down. Threx refused. "That's not a weapon," he said. "That's a countdown." And he was right that night. One of the nearby suns, a small red dwarf called Myros, began to flicker. Then it collapsed. No warning, no supernova, just light gone. An entire system turned cold in seconds. No attack ships, no missiles. Just fire from nothing, and still. The humans had not shown their faces. They didn't need to, because now the galaxy was afraid. Afraid of silence. Afraid of the dark. Afraid of Earth. And Earth had not yet spoken a single word of war. The stars had gone. Quiet. After the burning of the Myros star, many systems near human space shut down their deep scanners. Some cut off communication completely. Traders stopped traveling. Explorers refused to go near the edge. But it was too late. Fear had already spread like fire across the galaxy. The council met again, this time behind locked doors. No recordings. No broadcasts. Only whispers. "They destroyed a sun," said one counselor. "Without firing a single weapon," said another. "They warned us." Still, some didn't believe. They said it was a trick, coincidence. Then someone mentioned the elders again. "The old ones who had warned them long ago, we killed them for lies," said one voice. "Maybe they were right," said another. But one elder still lived. His name was Solon. He had once been a high war priest. Now he lived in exile, far away, on a cold moon called Varnes, where no one ever visited. Until now. A ship landed near his small stone hut. Dust rose. A single figure stepped out, Commander Threx. He walked to the door and knocked. No answer. He knocked again. This time, the door creaked open slowly. The old man sat inside, wrapped in gray robes. His eyes were closed. "I warned them," the elder said softly. They laughed. Threx stepped inside. "They're not laughing now." Solon opened his eyes, pale, glowing faintly. "How many ships did they send?" 30. "How many came back?" "None." Solon nodded. "As expected." Sat across from him. "Tell me the truth, not the myths. What are the humans? Why do they strike without showing themselves?" Solon looked at the fire in the middle of the room. Because long ago they made a vow, not of peace, but of silence." Threx frowned. "What do you mean?" The elder spoke slowly, like someone digging up a grave. 1,000 cycles ago, the galaxy went to war. Every empire, every species. It was chaos. But then, humans arrived. Not many, just one fleet. And they ended it? Solon nodded. With one battle, no survivors on the other side. Weapons were not made for war. They were made for memory. They left scars in space that never healed. The stars still shake there. Threx leaned forward. "Why did they disappear afterward?" "They gave a warning to all," Solon whispered. "Stay out of their skies. Do not study their world. Do not cross into their dark." In return, they would sleep. "But we woke them," Threx said. Solon's voice trembled. "Yes, and now the punishment begins. Not with armies, not with invasion, but with reminders." Threx stood. "I have to tell the council." Solon laughed quietly. "They won't listen. They didn't listen then. They won't now. But the people deserve to know." Solon nodded slowly, and let the people hear. From the dead, Threx returned to Zareth 4 with an old data crystal. It was cracked, old, dusty, but inside it was a recording proof that humanity had warned the galaxy once before. The message was ancient, but still clear. "We do not seek war, but we remember war. And if you come into our space, we will remind you what it looks like." Threx played this in secret across the outer systems. In hours, thousands had heard it. Then days, millions. The people began to ask questions. Why had the council lied? Why had they ignored the warnings? Why did they silence the elders? The council panicked. They tried to erase the message. They failed. And then, the skies changed again. Across a dozen systems, satellites shut down, navigation broke. Power grids blinked. On the planet Kairos, the council's second homeworld, a shadow appeared in orbit. Not a ship, a field. A wave of darkness that swallowed. Light and then a new message played only for words. "The silence is broken." Panic spread. Riots began. Military bases locked down, but it was already too late. One by one, the council members vanished. Their ships found empty. Their signals cut. No shots, no sound. Just empty chairs. Only Threx remained untouched. He stood in the council hall alone. He looked at the glowing screens, and for the first time in history, as the great banner of the Galactic Council dimmed. Not from damage, but from fear and the silence. A new signal came through, a soft voice, human, female, cold. You opened the archive. You crossed the line. You broke the silence. The galaxy will now remember why it feared us. And far away, deep in the dark where stars used to shine, a human fleet started to move, not toward war, but toward justice. The people had lost trust. The council had lost control. And the humans had not even arrived in person. But still, planets were falling. After the message from the human voice, 10 systems shut off their scanners, hoping to hide. Others begged for peace, even without a response. A few tried to run, none succeeded. Then it happened. A star exploded. Not from nature, not from age, but from something else, something made by human hands. It was the sun of Veltron 6, a peaceful trade system. One moment, it was shining bright across 5 planets. The next, it was gone. Just a white flash. Then silence. Every ship in orbit was turned to dust. Every planet froze in seconds. Over 2 billion lives gone. A signal arrived 10 seconds later. No images. No threats. Just one sentence. First strike. Retaliation. Second strike. Lesson. The galaxy froze. Across 10 empires. Leaders held emergency meetings. Some still wanted to fight. We can't let one species control the stars, shouted A. Warlord from the Drelg Republic. They have killed billions without landing a single ship, said another. This is not war. This is power. At the center of it all, Commander Threx stood silent. He had seen enough. He knew humans weren't trying to conquer. They were teaching a lesson. One the galaxy had refused to learn for thousands of years. He opened the secure communication line. To Varnus, the frozen moon, where Elder Solon still lived, the Elder answered with calm eyes. They destroyed a sun, Threx said. How? Solon sighed. Humans studied stars before they studied planets. They learned to break them. Before they learned to break enemies. Why now? Because now they remember. Threx looked out the window. So many stars. How many would disappear? Next, back on the capital planet of the Torvian Empire, citizens were evacuating. Ships blocked the sky. People cried in the streets. A child asked his mother, "Are the humans coming here?" The mother didn't answer. No one could. Then the human fleet arrived, but not in the way anyone expected. They did not appear from warp gates. They did not fly in from the edge of space. They unfolded. Space itself twisted, bent, and tore from inside. That tear came shapes giant ships unlike anything seen before. No heat, no sound. Just quiet, slow movement. They hovered above the system's sun, not above cities, not above soldiers, above the light itself. A single signal was sent to every screen, every ship, every device in the system. We asked for distance. You gave us spies. We asked for silence. You gave us fleets. Now we give you a reminder. And then the human ships vanished again. No attack, no strike. But the message was clear. Next time we take your son. The Torvian Council begged for mercy. They sent messages of peace, apology, surrender. But there was no reply, because humanity had already given its answer. And they did not speak twice. Threx stood before a broadcast camera in the Galactic Tower. He activated the public. One used only for war declarations. But he didn't declare war. He declared truth. This is Commander Threx. I speak not for the Council. I speak for reason. He paused, his voice steady. We provoked the humans. We ignored the elders. We sent ships to watch their world. And now stars fall because of our pride. Look straight into the lens. If you are near human space, leave. If you are watching them, stop. If you think they will forgive, you are wrong. He ended the broadcast. Across the galaxy, people listened. Some cried. Some fled. Some prayed. On a faraway moon, Elder Solon smiled sadly. He whispered to himself Suns fall, but men do not. Not human men. Not anymore. Back in the darkness of deep space, the human fleet floated in perfect silence. They didn't move. They didn't send more messages. They only waited, because the galaxy had one choice left: learn, or lose the light. The air was cold and silent. Deep inside the planet Cernax, hidden under mountains of dead rock, something ancient waited. Something not made by any known race. Had no light, no sound. But it was alive. It remembered. Captain Mara Vel stood at the edge of a black tunnel, holding a glow rod that flickered like a dying star. Behind her, 5 soldiers waited, nervous. Weapons ready. No one spoke. Even the machines kept quiet. Their mission was simple on paper: explore the forbidden archive, recover any data, and get out alive. But paper lies. Everyone in the galaxy knew one truth: nothing that entered the forbidden archive ever came back. But humans were different. Begin recording. Mara said softly. Her voice echoed down the tunnel like a whisper through bones. Log 01. This is Captain Vel of the Terran Retrieval Unit. We've entered the Cernax archive. No resistance yet. Air is thin, but breathable. Proceeding forward, they walked slowly, step by step, deeper into darkness. Strange symbols glowed faintly on the walls, pulsing like veins, moving like they were alive. No one touched them. Number! One even breathed too hard. They passed ancient machines covered in dust, taller than buildings, some broken, some humming quietly. One soldier, Diaz, glanced too long at a spinning orb on the wall and collapsed. Diaz. Mara rushed to him. His eyes were wide, frozen open. He was still breathing, but he didn't speak. His mouth opened slowly, and a voice came out, but it wasn't his. Turn back. The voice was deep. Not loud, but it struck into the minds of everyone like a cold knife. Then Diaz blinked, shook his head, and sat up. I saw something, he whispered. It looked like Earth, but it was burning. Mara didn't ask questions. She just helped him up. We continue. No stopping. They moved forward. The tunnel ended in a giant chamber. The ceiling was lost in shadow. Pillars of crystal rose around them, each one holding glowing shapes, like holograms from forgotten times. Data, maybe. Memories? Warnings? Warnings one up as Mara passed. A voice played broken alien. They were not supposed to know. They opened it. They should not have opened it. Suddenly, lights blinked all around the room. Voices started whispering. Hundreds, maybe thousands. Some screamed, some begged, some spoken languages no one understood. Then a central platform lit up. A single console stood in the center. Unlike the rest, it was clean, untouched by time. It called to her. Captain, one of her team said. I don't think we should. Mara walked forward. She placed her hand on the console. It didn't scan her. It accepted her. The platform shifted. Sphere rose from the ground, glowing with energy. It showed stars, millions of them, then zoomed in on Earth. And then it showed fire. Destruction. Cities turning to ash, not from aliens. Not from war, from something beneath Earth's crust. The console spoke in a flat, lifeless voice. You woke the seed. The core is cracking. The archive was made to contain the truth. Now it cannot be stopped. Mara's hand trembled. What seed? What are you talking about? The seed was planted before humans existed, hidden under your world. A prison made by those who ruled before time. Now the prison fails. The seed will awaken. Behind her, the soldiers backed away.
Captain,
Diaz said, we have to go. But the archive wasn't finished. It showed images, flashes of creatures so large they blocked out suns. Machines with minds older than galaxies. And at the center, a black eye watching Earth from inside. Suddenly, alarms sounded. Red lights. Lockdown. The doors began closing. Mara grabbed the sphere. It didn't burn her. It became part of her. She turned to her team. We're leaving. Now, they ran. The tunnel behind them twisted, walls shifting like they were alive. Whispers turned to screams. The exit was closing fast. They made it through with seconds to spare. Outside, on the surface, the sky was darker, colder, as if something had noticed them. Diaz looked at her. "What did you bring out?" Mara didn't answer. The sphere pulsed in her pack. It was warm now. It's beating like a heart, far away on Earth, deep underground. Something stirred. A crack formed in the deepest rock. Something inside began to breathe. The forbidden archive was never a vault of knowledge. It was a warning. And now it was too late. The air was cold and still. Captain Arell stood at the edge of a massive underground chamber. Her boots crunched lightly on the dusty floor, untouched for thousands of years. Her team stood behind her, 3 soldiers and 1 scientist, all silent. As they stared at the strange metal door ahead, it wasn't just a door. It was a warning, etched in a dozen alien languages. The message was clear. Do not enter. This archive holds the forbidden. "Are you sure this is it?" Sergeant Kell asked, adjusting his weapon. Dr. Yana, the team's historian, nodded slowly. "This is the place the old record spoke of. The archive that even the elders swore never to open. The one the Zarn Empire tried to destroy, but failed." Captain Yarel took a breath. "And you're sure it mentions humans?" Yana swallowed. "Yes, it speaks of a threat from beyond the stars. Describes a species that burns brighter the more it suffers. A race that should never be crossed. The word is not used directly, but it's their primitive, carbon-based, evolved on a blue planet. It fits." Irel nodded once. "Then we go in." She stepped forward. Her gauntlet glowed faint blue as she placed it against the metal. The door groaned, ancient locks. Clicking open. Light spilled into the chamber. The team raised their weapons and stepped inside. The air was thick with age and silence. Rose. Black cubes floated in the air, untouched by time. Holographic text glowed faintly on each. Data, memories, history that was never meant to be seen, and at the far end of the room stood a single pedestal. On it, a cube larger than the others. It pulsed. Yana rushed forward. "This one's active." Irel moved beside her. "Play it." Yana pressed her hand to the cube. A figure appeared tall. Pale-skinned, with glowing red eyes. An archivist. Not living. But once alive, its voice echoed in the chamber. "If you have found this archive, then you are either desperate or foolish." The team listened, frozen. "We warned the others. Do not awaken what sleeps. We recorded the war. A species we met small, fragile, chaotic. But they survived everything. Fire, ice, poison, war, extinction, they called themselves. Humans." The cube glowed brighter. "They were sent to the edge of the galaxy, abandoned, forgotten. We thought they would die, but they did not. They adapted. They built. They evolved. They learned every weapon we used and made it better. Every trap we set, they escaped. Every world we took, they took back." Kell's voice was low. "This is real," the archivist continued. "They do not fear death. They use it as fuel. The more they lost, the harder they fought. We do not understand them. We tried peace, they mistrusted. Tried war, they survived. Tried to erase them, yet they became legends." The image flickered, glitching. "If you are listening, leave this archive sealed. Do not contact Earth. Do not approach their territory. Let the memory fade. Let the myth remain. For if they rise again, you will not survive a second time." The hologram vanished. Silence. Nobody moved. Then Yana spoke, her voice shaking. "This was buried before the Zarn Empire even formed. The galaxy forgot the truth. Humanity was never destroyed. They were hidden." Yarel stepped back, her eyes cold. "Someone tried to bury this for a reason." Kell turned to her. "What do we do now?" The captain looked at the cube, then at the others. "If we take this back to the council, they'll panic. They want to wipe out Earth before humans rise again. But if the archivist is right, that might be the worst mistake of all." Yana nodded. "The more you push them, the stronger they become. Irel gave a final order. We don't tell anyone. Not yet. We return, erase our trail, and wait. She paused, then added quietly, if humans are still out there, they'll come when they're ready. As the team walked out, the door sealed. Shut behind them, the forbidden archive went dark again, but its warning stayed alive, in the minds of those who heard it. And far away, on a quiet blue planet, the stars began to shift. Something ancient had awakened, and it remembered everything.